Welcome to the Handcuffs and Sawdust podcast, the show about life on the street as a beat cop and life in the shop as a woodworker. They pull no punches and tell it like it is, so buckle in and get ready. Now, here are your hosts from Marazzo Woodworking, Mike Marazzo, and from Full House Woodworking, Brandon Silvera.
It's Tits McGee. I played the wrong intro. Obviously, that's not Tits McGee sitting there. It's Brandon.
I'm sorry, Mike, but Tits McGee has the evening off tonight. I'm Veronica Corningstone.
Yeah, excellent. Hi, Veronica. We all Veronica and myself
do this.
Episode 68, the Handcuffs and Sawdust podcast. I am Mike Marazzo. That's Brandon Silvera, and we have a very special guest with us today, Village President and retired detective from my PD, Frank DeSimone. Thanks for joining us,
Frank.
Frank.
Thank you for having me, gentlemen. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks for taking time out for us today.
I owed a favor, so I had to do it.
He's making up for not coming to the chili party yesterday.
Here we go.
So,
Mike,
yes,
you didn't
Frank.
want me at the chili party. I'm telling you right now.
Were you that sick?
For your own good,
yeah,
and for the safety of your guests,
okay,
you're lucky I stayed home.
Okay. Oh, all right. Well, we were talking earlier in the pre-show about someone named Greg, and for Brandon, he knows exactly who this Greg guy is because he has one that used to work with him too. But Greg decided, I invited him to the party, and he texted. I said, "Okay, I'm coming." He says, "Now Greg's like 65-ish, maybe. His girlfriend's 80. I'm not lying.
That's
so,
awesome.
And she also lives like an hour away from him. So he says, yeah, we're coming to the party. I'm like, okay, cool. And then the next day he texts me, are you serving anything other than chili? I'm like, no, it's a chili party. We will have snacks and chips and dips and stuff, but it's chili's the main course. Okay, then nothing. That's it. He just says, okay, and he doesn't text back. And then the next day he texts me, yeah, we're not coming. We don't like chili. I'm like, well, whatever. It's just fine. Don't come. At least Frank
Does know that he doesn't have to eat the chili, right? Like he can.
I know. He could just come.
Eat, or he could just, bring his
eat
own
the hors
food.
d'oeuvres. Bring your own food.
It was a 3 o'clock game. He had to be in bed with his 80-year-old girlfriend at 4:30.
Probably. That's not far off.
No.
I don't know what it's like to date an 80-year-old woman, but hopefully I'll never find out.
Whoa, you hoping Kim dies?
Yeah, what's up with that?
I'm saying on the side. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. No one's listening.
Mike, you just dig it that whole deeper. Abort.
Pull up.
Yeah, I don't know. I got to go.
All right.
I got a thing. Would you look at
Frank,
the time?
Well, yeah, I got a thing with the guy with the thing. I got to go.
Frank worked at my police department for 25 years and retired as a detective this past year in May. He worked his last shift in May. And what?
I had to come back like Michael Jordan.
Oh, that's right. He retired. Yeah. Oh, he was going to retire. He put in all his time. Tell Brandon what happened. Because, it's got to be the same at every police department.
Can I guess? I'm assuming that due to staffing levels and Mike's untimely injury and surgery, it screwed you over.
No. I would have swallowed that pill wholeheartedly because I love Mike like a brother. No, so I was thinking about retiring. So I went to the pension board members and said, okay, what do I got to do? We figure it out because we have a May 1st calendar year. My anniversary date's end of June, so I was trying to figure out vacation time and this and that. So the math that we worked out was, I think it was May 5th, Mike, or May 6th, whatever day it was, that I could leave and then just ride out my vacation time to my anniversary and then retire. So I planned it all out, vacation time, comp time, sick time. One weekend before I'm supposed to get my first pension check, I get a letter. Congratulations on your 24 years of service. And I said, 24 years?
That's wrong.
Yeah. And mind you, I was injured and I was out of work for 22 days with no pay, but that's another story we could talk about later. and fully told the pension board, listen, 22 days I worked, I didn't get a paycheck, yada yada, no problem. Anything under 30 is a wash. Great. Get the letter. I call up the pension board. Yeah, it says I have 24 years. They're like, yeah, you do. I'm like, no. He goes, so you're 22 days short. I go, yeah, I get it. My paperwork says 22 days. He goes, you got to work it. I go, so now what? They said, well, either you come back to work or you pay out of your pocket for the 22 days. So I said, I've been home since May 6th. It is now like June 20th or whatever it is. I go, you couldn't figure this out until then? So being the asshole that I am, I'm like, you know what? I'm going back to work. Fuck it. I'm going to go back to work. I figure I get past July 1st. I have to pay me a whole nother month of insurance. I get to August 1st. I have to pay me a whole nother month of insurance. I'm going to pay for it. So I show up to work, right? And all the guys are busting my chops as they should. That's what we do. And my boss walks in, and he'll remain nameless. So looks at me, walks right to my supervisor, and says, "You make sure DeSimone is working." Now, mind you, 22 days is all I had to be there. So that was the same week I was having a golf outing for my fundraiser for being the mayor. So I was deep in that, planning that while I was on vacation. I came back to work that Monday. My golf outing was that Friday. So I came into my boss's office. I said, I'm taking off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I'll be back next week. So come Tuesday, I get called in for a shooting on Irving Park Road, the road rage incident. Like, I don't know if you were there still.
No.
I'm like, why are you calling me in? I'm not going to court for you. I'm not going to investigate this for you. Why are you calling me in? So I called in, got like 30-something hours overtime that reduced my time I had to be there anyways. Long story short, and I know it's the never-ending story, I didn't last the 22 days. I just paid it out of my pocket because I couldn't stand going in there anymore.
I was so mad at him they actually paid them instead of just going in and sitting at his desk and saying, fuck you, and looking for houses and looking for cars.
I had no cell phone. I had no email. I had I had nothing. And they wanted me to come in and work cases. I'm like, you know what? I can't stomach it. So
was the other guy at your desk already?
No, he was not in yet.
Okay.
He wasn't. I take that back. He was at the desk behind me.
All right. I told them, Brandon, that I would have stayed for a couple more years because I knew Frank was retiring. Had they just put me back in the detective division to fill in for Frank. But we had a couple things going against me or Frank. Is one, our dad wasn't a cop in the village that we worked in for 30 years and now a board of trustee member. Whereas the guy who took Frank's place is.
Well, that part's
that
key.
pretty much ended my stay. And yeah, of course.
My problem was that the mayor of our village hated me because of all the successes that I have in the village that I currently run.
So Frank's you're in your 8th year term, right, as mayor.
Second term. Yeah.
Second term, 8th year in a row.
Years. Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm so proud of Frank as a person and a mayor. I wish I actually lived in like the village where he is the mayor, because he's done an amazing job turning that place around. And our mayor, where we worked, couldn't stand it because he didn't do shit for our village and our police department and everything else that he's in control of. And while he gets to watch Frank's village just expand and grow.
And full disclosure, Mike, you could say, I mean, I hope you'll chime in on this one. I never rubbed it in anybody's face. Like, they would bust my chops and call me the mayor, and I used to correct them saying, I'm a detective here. I mean, I never brought my other town into my workplace. I gave it my 100 every time I showed up to work. So I just kind of got fed up with it, and it's time to go. And like you said, Mike, I would have stayed if things were a little different, but it just kind of got, and being in the county that we worked into, all that kind of added up to the times right.
Brandon knows Cook County is such a shit show, but I didn't, you had on the detective side having to go in front of the grand jury all the time and having to drive downtown and deal with all that bullshit.
The best is a 4-hour drive round trip if you're lucky to answer 5 questions that you say yes to them giving you a true bill 30 seconds later for you to drive 2 hours back. It was ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. You'll find out from when you hear Brandon's stories that policing's a lot different in California and some of the stuff that they get to do, which isn't handcuffed by, Cook County politics and stuff.
It's different from the county that I'm in as a mayor.
We do get
compared to the county that we worked in.
Oh, yeah, of course you get the handcuff people. But you're not handcuffed by the law. Yeah, or the state.
I don't have to ask
who hates the police.
Get into a foot pursuit.
Yeah. Oh my God. There's a case under review right now in Chicago for that very thing. So, and the guy was pulling a weapon out of his pants and he got shot. But now they're saying the police officer shouldn't even have been chasing him for their the chase policy, foot pursuit
What's the line?
policy.
Not my kid.
Take a breath, Mike.
Remember,
Take a
everybody
breath.
says,
Oh,
not
yeah.
my kid.
Not my kid.
Well, ma'am, this is a picture of your kid, not my
Well,
kid.
I
but
heard he
he's
was a
holding
good boy,
his
and then he started
driver's
going back
license
to
the camera. Yeah, he was just turning his life around
And he was an honor student. Here's a picture of his graduation cap.
from kindergarten.
He graduated kindergarten as an honor student.
Yeah, so it just got old. It just got old fast.
And the plumbers are here cutting into the ceiling.
All right. Do you need to go? I guess we're waiting for No, you don't have to go.
Annie hasn't set up the.
They cut your feed.
She said, "Hey, yeah. We're just gonna wait for the internet to go out. It's gonna be great." What led to you wanting to become a mayor after seeing like firsthand how city politics work?
So, great question. So, I really just got pissed off at the village, right? So, I live on a dead end street in my town, and at the time they had a snow plowing, because we do get snow here in Illinois. They had a snow plowing and salting program where they would only salt 3 houses into the block. Now I'm 8 houses down. So they really wanted us to drag that salt with the tires of our cars to our house, which I was the last house in the block. And after numerous times of almost sliding off into the retention pond that is next to me, it got old. So I decided to run. I took 2 ladies with me. One was in her early 20s and one was about my age. We had Mike, you were there, 5 volunteers, maybe $5,000 to run a campaign, and we swept out the incumbents, all 3 of us. So that was awesome. That was our start. Yeah, that was our start.
I guess everyone else was sick of living in a street that didn't get plowed as well, and amongst the other stuff that wasn't going on in the village.
Right. I mean, and it's like, it was funny because my partner at the time, Billy and I were partners for a long, long time.
Detective.
Hey, man, I got detective. Yes. I said, I got this idea. I go, I want to run.
Right.
Whatever. Hey, whatever.
It's
Mike.
okay.
Take it easy. Take a breath, Mike. Take a breath. I said, I want to run for mayor. He goes, you're stupid. That's what he says to me. He goes, you don't got enough issues and problems here. You want to do that? I'm like, yeah, that'll be fun. I said, but I need you to do me a favor. He's like, what's that? I go, if I win and I get a big head, I want you to punch me in the face as hard as you can. And he said, my pleasure. I haven't gotten punched in the face yet.
It's important to have those kind of people around you.
100%. I mean, like I said, I can see where kind of people, but I also tell people, I didn't need the power. We carried a badge and a gun, right? Our 25 years we carried it. That was the power we had. It didn't affect me either way. And I hate the word politician. I don't say that word at all. So, and like Mike will tell you, he's been to a couple fundraisers. The support was overwhelming. And so that's when I was a trustee. I stayed a trustee for 2 years. Then the mayor decided to resign. And then I'm like, it was a little early for me, but then I just decided to run for office, and we swept out everybody, and now we have the whole entire board for us.
Yeah, it's cool.
So for those hopefully who might have a different kind of setup, would a trustee be similar to like a city council member?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So they vote on policy, they vote on procedures and things of that nature. And the cool part about it is, so after that first election, my second term came up and I was unopposed. I was the first village president / mayor, however, it's village president, but people call you mayor, in like over 30 years to be unopposed in the village of it. So, yeah, so we're doing all right.
We're hoping that happens again this spring because election's coming up in April.
We have November 12th, I think is the day they got to file, and we got hopefully, again, it's not like we're going to say, holy shit, we got competition, we're not running, we're just going to run full bore. And that's kind of what we do. And I treat people the way I want to be treated, and I think it works. It works for, it's a new form. Listen, man, I hate going down to Springfield. I hate going to Washington, D.C. That's not me. I always said, I actually got in trouble because our governor, who will remain nameless, we're having issues where the state's not paying our towns our fair tax share. So I was one of only 4 mayors allowed to meet with him in Springfield. And when he told me he wasn't going to, Illinois had no intention of paying us. I just happened to say, well, why don't you just write me a personal check, and we'll call it a day. And I don't think I'll ever be back in the mayor's the governor's office again.
Good. Fuck him, piece of shit. He needs to go.
It is what it is. It is what it is. But like I said, I just it's a fun thing. I've met a lot of people. I've done a lot of cool things. It's obviously not as fun as law enforcement was back in the day, up until most recently. And I've done a lot of cool stuff in law enforcement. I'm a blessed individual, man, and I tell my kids this all the time. I was the last guy, Mike, to get hired on the police department with just a high school education. Remember that? I didn't go to college.
I didn't have any either. So I think the cutoff was right after me. I didn't even have. Yeah, they changed that right after they hired us.
Yeah, we're 57 and 58. Yeah, so so I mean, I didn't take that for granted. I just worked hard to get where we were, and yeah, you get help along the way, and you get your breaks, but you have to make the most of those breaks. And I did in both law enforcement and politics, I guess.
Yeah, I don't even consider you a politician. Which is weird. Maybe because we're so close. Word. I know. So, and I don't see you as that. So maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I would say he's not a politician. He's doing it under the way that government was supposed to work, right? You take people that are successful in whatever industry, they leave that industry, come serve the people and represent them. And then when their time's up, then they move on. It's the ones who continually stay in there that have lost touch with their constituents that you end up where you get the career politician.
Correct.
Right.
And I said too, after I won the first, when I won my first, the election, the first one, I said, listen guys, if I'm not doing my job, don't vote for me anymore. That's it. I mean, that's kind of it. It doesn't would I be upset if I lost or decided not to do it again? Absolutely, because I enjoy it that much. But that doesn't make me who I am. I mean, I'm not going to change my values and my vision to fit the minority of people that want you to be a certain different type of politician. I just won't do it.
Yeah, good. So, Brandon,
is that too serious for this show?
No, not at all.
That's the honest to God truth.
That's as serious as we've been in a long time.
But we can use some seriousness here. I mean, what we do is serious. Our jobs are serious, and your job now is serious, running a whole village. So, I mean, it's a fact. So don't run from it. Brandon,
no, absolutely not.
Yeah. So what happened this week with you, Brandon? Actually, it's been 2 weeks, Brandon, since we recorded. What's the word over there in your department lately? Except, let us know about the cars too, because apparently you don't have any cars and you have to ride horseback everywhere.
Well, as everyone knows, the bird is the word. So
the bird is the word.
Now let's see here. Well, my recruit finished his time and he is now on his own, off to midnights. Hold on a second. I'm receiving questions about where this leak could possibly be coming from.
Plumbing matters. Coming to you live.
For the water.
It's a huge stain on the wall. You can't miss it.
Yeah, if you look up, you'll see the little discolored drywall.
Brandon, is that water dripping behind you? I see water dripping behind you. You all right over there?
Oh, great. I need a new roof on top of this. Great. I wonder if I jump out of a second-story window, if it'll paralyze me or kill me.
Let's find out. Live after this break.
Yeah. But first, a word from our sponsors. Let's see here. Yeah. You can even sand in a wheelchair. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Hannah. I'm sorry, guys. So my idiot is off on his own. He made it through. And then...
that was close.
It was. I was pretty pissed off after one of those days. But he'll be fine. He's just old.
And not like your problem anymore.
Yeah, he's officially not my problem.
Right.
No, it was... So we have 2 other recruits on the team that are just starting. I think they've been cops for 12 total days now. Trying to give them extra credit. So it's a lot of them doing stuff and us helping them along the way. And then I had the very fortunate circumstance of, I had so much fun throughout my week that they decided to let me work more on my Friday.
Which is usually your day off, right?
Yeah. So it was, if I gotta be held over, I would rather do it on my Friday because Friday traffic is horrible anyways. And I'll probably still get home at around the same time. I might as well make a little bit of extra money while I'm doing it instead of sitting in the car. So for some reason, apparently this sergeant that decided to hold me over doesn't like me because she put me on the busiest district in the city, which normally I don't mind, but when you're being held over, it's a
dick move.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And
even if she doesn't have a dick.
Yeah, so I got told that that's where I was going to be working, and they're making
is that an airplane?
That small hole bigger. Well, it's funny because I'm actually right in the flight path to the hospital, but usually it's a helicopter. But that little my
Cessna.
Yeah. If you guys see a bright flash, just know that we're under attack. So, I wonder what kind of multi-tool they're using. I wonder if it's a.
Sounds like a Dremel for sure.
Mike, can you tell by the hum? Is that a DeWalt or is that a Milwaukee? What do you think?
That's a Craftsman Dremel. It's a discounted version.
I don't know. It sounds a lot like my Ryobi.
It's not battery operated.
Oh no, right, that's straight into the wall. That's using up my electricity.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So
you can imagine.
I thought it was the start of an Ozzy Osbourne song.
You can imagine the type of mood that I was in.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I said, you know what? Screw this.
So
I gotta take a uniform top to the uniform spot to get patches sewn on. I'm gonna go drop that off. I'm gonna go get food because I haven't eaten today. I'm gonna go do that. And then as I'm driving, because I used to work this channel, I used to work that district, and they made it not a training district, and that's a whole separate thing I'm not going to go into. I know of a parking lot behind a church, a lot of trees, a lot of shade. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to the church. I'm just going to sit there. I'm going to eat my pizza, and I'm going to be fine. And I'm sitting in traffic.
I like it.
Make this turn, and all of a sudden, I see this homeless fella come out from around the corner of a building. No shirt.
Okay.
And he is having it out with himself.
Oh, I love those guys. They're my favorite.
And he's holding on to his waistband. He's kind of messing around. And then all of a sudden he reaches his arm way up and he just punches himself right in the dick.
Oh, man. Did he get the twins too?
And then just keeps walking. And he just keeps doing it. And then he double fists it. And then I'm sitting there and I'm going,
Frank and beans.
Frank and beans. Get the Frank cut. The beans are above the Frank.
This is going to be a call. Let me see.
No, see, that's the issue.
Let me see if I can solve this problem beforehand.
They'll work it out. They're just discussing it.
And I go, hey, fella. Hey, what?
Pal.
One, you good? Because that looked like it hurt.
The first 18 times.
Well, and he does the confused dog head turn. I go, how about this? How about you go back to the creek and leave the normal people alone? Okay. And then scurries off. I'm all right, cool.
That works.
Problem solved. Problem staying solved. Go back to my parking lot, get halfway through my pizza. Hey, we're getting a report of a male following children masturbating. God.
He was getting it ready. That's why he was whacking it so hard.
Yeah.
So he could whack it hard.
He was literally beating his meat.
Literally beating his meat.
Literally.
Like a steak?
Yeah,
it wasn't steak.
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe he was cooking.
So I'm the closest person there. You know what? God damn it. All right.
That's your first mistake.
Right.
I was sitting in a
Can I critique this? Can I critique this whole thing as a 25
absolutely. You should.
Yeah.
You should.
After he's done with the story.
You got it.
So
things I would do differently. All of the above.
So, you know what? I'm gonna hit this guy. I'm at least gonna hit this guy. I'm gonna have to write a use of force report, and I'm gonna be done. I'm gonna log out, go change. I'm gonna write it in the RW room, and I'm not gonna be out here on the street anymore. I go driving around, and I get flagged down by some old lady pushing a dog in a stroller. It's California. Don't question it. Just go with it.
That's normal.
Okay? Just
right.
go with it.
Normal. Okay.
And she's like, I want to talk to you about the homeless people in the creek. I go, quick, before you do, looking for a dude, no shirt, grabbing his junk. You seen him?
Grabbing his junk.
No. And she goes into this long thing. I go, okay, well, I'm looking for this guy. I need to go find him because he's like exposing himself to children. She's like, well, I just, about these homeless, I get it. Talk to your city council person, because when you gripe to them and they get tired of hearing you gripe, then they tell me that I can do some things that I'd like to do. So go do that. Leave me alone. I need to go find this guy. She goes, well, make sure you vote. Like, I already did it. And you voted blue, right? I'm like, lady, I can't tell you. And even if I did, it's not going to be what you want to hear. I promise you. Can I please go find this guy and take him to jail after he goes to the hospital?
Or your house, lady.
Yeah.
Or just
back to
drop
her
him
house.
off. So I finally just zoom off, and here's somebody put out, like, oh, I think I got him going down this street. Like, all right, fine. Like, pull up next to him. Like, where is he? Like, way down there. Way down there. I should probably throw in there, this guy is probably older than Mike.
So he's at least 50.
You're a liar. They don't make it. They don't make anybody older than Mike.
Oh, these guys are like, they're unkillable. And I'm looking at him like, what? Why are we over here then? Like, we just go grab him. Like, I know he stinks, but let's just grab him. All right, cool. Well, I'm going to go head him off, and you do whatever you want to do, guy. Go head him off, and he does exactly what I want him to do. He balls up his fist. He drops the center of gravity. He goes, rah! And then I'm thinking, oh, good. So I start going to pull out my baton, and then he takes off running. I go, oh, shit. Because he starts running right towards the front door of a house.
Oh.
And we've made it to a nice neighborhood.
Okay.
Like, God, I really don't want to run with having just eaten half a pizza. Like,
how big was the pizza?
It's
like
like one of those little personal. It's like one of those little personal ones. It's called the pizza place is called like the Square Pie Guys.
Okay.
I don't know. It's good.
Was it a meat lover's pizza or just plain cheese? I got to know.
Right.
Just
what was on
pepperoni at the time of the running?
Pepperoni.
That'll give you the shits.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was.
You'll shit mid-run.
Yeah.
Yeah. That guy, you shit yourself. The best thing is we won't know who smells.
Right. Oh no, who smells? Okay.
So one of the things that we have to do is, when feasible, you shall give a, use of force warning. Hey, police, stop right there. If you don't, force is going to be used against you. I'll fuck you up. Ah, damn it! I did it.
Well, you lasted like an hour and 5 minutes, so that's good.
It's a new record for me. So I start running after him. I go, hey, stop right there, or I'm going to hit you really, really hard. And he stops, turns around. I'm thinking, yes, finally, square up. And he sits down. He just sits down on the front step.
He's done.
He's tired. He was masturbating the whole entire time.
Right.
That's true. That's not going to affect his legs.
Took a nap.
Well, he could if he did it multiple times.
Yeah.
He must be a warrior.
So I grab him. I escort him to the ground. Start throwing him in handcuffs, and all of a sudden the front door opens. And this wealthy-looking lady looks at him, looks at me, and goes, oh, my God. Like, back inside. Go away. Hook him up, put him in the car. Look at the other guy, like, where the fuck were you?
Yeah, what was he watching from the sidelines?
Yeah, he was watching. So They bring over one of the reporting parties to do the ID, and we go to open the door, and I see this guy sitting in a puddle. I go, oh no, he peed. And then I got a whiff of it.
Oh, it ain't pee.
I go, oh,
that was that pepperoni pizza.
No, he didn't have the pepperoni pizza. Brandon had the pepperoni pizza.
But Brandon left it on the passenger seat. He ate half of it.
Okay, that was it. Yeah.
No, he wasn't in my car. If he was in my car, it would have been very bad for this guy.
Another use of force report.
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't use reportable force.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, Mike, I escorted him to the ground and took him into custody. He was already
sitting down.
Frank doesn't know this, but in patrol, we have to, even if we handcuff someone and you have to put him down on the ground, then we have to do a use of force report.
Time out, Mike. I've made more arrests in my sleep than you had in patrol.
Okay.
I don't want to hear it.
All right, whatever. Mm-hmm. That's an argument for another day.
Just because I write reports better than you, it doesn't really matter.
No, that's not true. Go ahead, Brandon. Continue.
So, I suddenly realized that this guy has doo-dooed. So, I look at the other officer who is very junior to me, and I go, "No, you're grabbing him."
Yep.
I'm not doing that. He grabs him out. Sure enough, that's the guy. And he looks at the car, and he looks at the guy, and I can see the thought process of, do I put him back, or do I move him to the other side?
Just let him
put it right back. Yeah, he put it right back. So I'm not going to get the rest of my car dirty.
No,
the problem was the guy started putting his hands in the puddle and then flicking in his fingers to try to splash poop on the guy.
Oh boy, that's a battery. At least attempted battery.
He was unsuccessful. I told him I'd have broke his jaw.
Yeah, and his fingers. He wouldn't be able to sling anything towards anybody.
Yeah,
stump.
So I looked the whole rest of that patrol team showed up there, and I looked at them. I go, look, the second you two come out of jail, I'm going home. I don't care. They want to reprimand me, write me up. Don't care. I'm done. I have reached my limit.
Yeah.
So that was the most exciting thing.
We had a sergeant that had that. Remember our sergeant in the back where the guy decided to take the cup that we give him for the soda and put it in the toilet and throw it on him? Yeah, things didn't end well for him either.
No, we didn't have cameras back then at the time.
I meant the sergeant on that one.
I would love just
nothing else. No bank robberies.
No, not this time.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
We did have actually. It ended up being this dude. He's a royal piece of shit. So I got to be careful about how much that I actually talk about the case. But he would allegedly, multiple times, put a single bullet in a revolver, spin the cylinder, throw it in there, put it to his girlfriend's head, and pull the trigger.
Yeah, a guy like that.
So
yeah,
he would also allegedly abuse physically. No, not this guy. This is a whole different guy.
Okay,
because we got pre-authorized for a pursuit, and then he pulled over, which is
that's all crazy to me. I may have to pursue this guy. Okay, you may pursue him if he takes off. Okay, thank you very much for the pre-approval.
Well, no,
do you have to put a 7-day warning in? I think on this day I'm going to get into a pursuit.
Right.
Well, no. When we actually found the guy, the sergeant came on the area. He's like, so this is going to probably be a pursuit. So could the recruit that's driving the car just focus on driving the car, and could maybe the FTO work the radio so I don't have to cancel it?
That's cool.
So that was the idea. But this.
So the guy. Okay.
I think he ended up being charged with yes. So he in total was charged with something like 4 counts of attempted murder, child abuse, domestic violence, brandishing, criminal
he's out
threats.
In 8 hours.
Right.
I think they actually helped this guy because he's also a validated gang member, so that was fun.
I don't know how to do gang signs, but I'm sure he was throwing some up.
Arthritis, Mike?
No, it's probably the arthritis, Mike.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know if Frank remembers this, but we had a guy that used to do that. He was in the service, in military at one point, and he had a bunch of guns at home. But he would make his girlfriend. He would put the gun in his girlfriend's hand, and say, "If you loved me, you'd pull the trigger." And he was always empty until the time it wasn't. And that was January. It was a New Year's Eve. It was my call.
That's the last time he does that.
Right. Usually. So it was actually the last time he did that because he died right. She just shot him in the head. And we had a part-timer show up first. He happened to be right around the corner. And she answers the door And she said, and then we show up, and then she's like, he made me shoot him. So we're like, okay, shit, get her in a car and get her out of here so she doesn't, say anything else or ask for an attorney. And then my boss looks at me and goes, this is your call, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, all right, it was Sergeant Lee, Frank. He says, okay, then can you just also process the crimes? I'm like, what? Frank and I were both on a homicide task force that would come out for that. He's like, no, we don't need that. We got you here. Just process the scene by yourself. And I'm like, okay, this is a great day. But that guy learned the hard way. That was the last time he played the game. And she's actually out now. She did some time. But
those are the apartments over there, right?
Yeah, on River, or on Jill, Sally, Susie. Yeah, one of those.
Again, I don't know if we can name names, so I'm just trying to
we
be
can.
very,
Who cares?
vague.
No one's. They can't hold us accountable anymore.
Listening?
Well, we're not going to get subpoenaed for any of those cases. Those are all been done. That's years ago.
Until you do.
So until we do, then I forget how to read.
Until somebody stumbles across it and is like, "You sullied my good name."
Mm-hmm. I won't mention any names, Mike. I'll let you do that.
Okay, that's all right. So that's an interesting one, Brandon. You ended up getting the guy.
Yes, we did. And it was great when they found it. When the recruit found him, me and my buddy had taken a break from looking for him to go pee, and they put it out. So we both jumped out of the car underneath the freeway. Well, we were doubled up at the time.
Yeah, don't cross the streams.
No, that's key. Right. So we both jump out on either side of our car, pee on the tires underneath the freeway, jump back in, and then.
I told every recruit I trained when we went to nights, the village is your bathroom. Yeah, except for
the world is your toilet.
To drive them. The world is your toilet. I tell Kim as we're driving through town, hey, I peed over there. Peed on that rooftop right over there. So,
well, I even tell the female recruits, like, if you have to go bad enough,
I'll just pull over.
Is your toilet.
Yeah.
Yep. I miss the good old days.
With the 7-Eleven clerks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have the worst bathrooms.
I have a trustee. He has a rule of thumb. He says, I only pee in hospitals or office complexes because those are the cleanest toilets ever. So if he has to go to the bathroom, the number 2 version, not the number 1. He only looks for those specific spots.
He'll look for a hospital. That's not a bad idea.
Doctor's office or office spaces. Yeah, because those are the cleanest bathrooms.
Okay.
If you gotta go, you gotta go.
I mean, I had a guy that one of the cops I worked with at the other department was telling me he had to go so bad that he just pulled over on the side of the road and went to the passenger side of his car and hung on to the door, and then just middle of rush hour let it rip because he couldn't make it to a hospital or an office building, apparently.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, no matter who's driving by. Yep. Brandon, poop stories?
I have sprayed the side of a Humvee.
when you were over.
When I was doing security for these ICBMs, like, you have to sit there and wait for like systems to reset, or if somebody's doing maintenance on it, like, you have to be right there just in case. Well, something I had did not quite agree with me, and my junior partner decided to not make sure that we had a TP in the Humvee. So I went off to the side, painted that sticker, and then used a sock.
I was going to say he used his T-shirt.
On the side of the road. The best part was there was like a handful of people that ended up driving by and like, meh, meh. Like, yep, hi, what's happening?
Thank you.
Take a picture.
Thank you very much. Man.
That's the only
I don't have any
stories. I had a
stories.
couple of close calls, though.
Yeah.
On duty.
Oh, we all had those.
It's been a while.
You run code to the PD to make sure you get in there.
I think your body knows the minute you try to undo your duty belt, and it makes it try to come out faster. I think that's the body. It's the body telling you something.
Frank's got a great story in Vegas, that Kim will not let die. Kim always references this. Leave the person $5. That's what she says to me because of the story that Frank hopefully will tell.
Yeah. So I was, 21 or 22, first time in Vegas, partying, drinking all night. We go to, should I say the name of the hotel?
Of course.
I'm finally allowed back in there after all the facial recognition is done. So we're at the Flamingo eating buffet. I mean, we're still hung over. and all of a sudden it hits me. I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom, man. So I'm wandering, stumbling around this casino. I can't find the bathroom. So we're in code 7 drill right now. So I get in the bathroom.
Wait, Brandon doesn't know the levels that we had.
There's seven phases of having to go. When you hit 7, like 6 is the denial phase, but then it goes right to 7, and then you're in trouble. Yeah. So I get into the bathroom, and there's this guy cleaning the shower or the mirrors and the sinks and stuff. So I get into the stall, I drop trout, and you hover, right? You don't sit on those toilets, or you put the stuff down. I just didn't have enough time. And it went all over the place. I mean, wall, stall, floor. I mean, it was bad. It was so bad. So I proceeded to finish. I cleaned myself up the best I could. I had about $3 in my pocket. I threw it on the floor and I left. I got my buddy, said, "We gotta get out of here." And no shit, for 10 years I didn't return to the Flamingo because I thought they'd have my picture. So the poor guy had to clean up just a nuclear disaster.
I have
Kip
a similar.
At least Frank left him $3.
So I went to Vegas for my 21st birthday, and me and a couple friends were drunkenly going down the street, and all of a sudden someone got the hankering for chicken nuggets from McDonald's. So we pop into one, and my buddy looks at me and says, "Dude, I gotta go." All right, cool, man. Bathroom's right over there. And he's like fiddle farting with the door. It's like, comes back, he's got that thick accent. He's like, "Dude, it's locked." Just like, "Hey guys, the bathroom's locked. My buddy's got to use the facilities, if you will."
Facilities.
And "Oh no, it's closed for cleaning." I know you don't understand. There's about to be a problem for all of us. Can you please just unlock it? No, it's locked. Like, people will just like barricade in there. No, you don't understand. There is about to be human shit on your floor
out here.
Please unlock the door. Like, don't make my friend shit his pants, please. I'm begging you. Like, no. Like, okay, fine. Walk over. He's like, "Dude, what are we gonna do?" It's like, we're like a mile and a half from the hotel. Like, "I got you. Don't worry about it." And I booted the door.
Oh, a little criminal damage there.
Oh yeah,
there you got to. Yeah,
it's like there's dad strength, there's old man strength, and there's drunk guy strength.
Yeah, right.
And there's I got a shit strength.
So I boot the door. My buddy goes in, does what he does, and we go running out without even like, we had already paid for our food, but we didn't grab it. We just ran out, and then at some point I turn around and go, "Fuck you, burger bitch," and then we left. And I have not been to Vegas since.
Ugh.
Wait, and Frank, Bernanke took credit for Brandon booting in that door.
What happened?
You remember that one? Bernanke took credit for Brandon booting in the door. So we got a buddy, Dan Bernanke, and he was a young police officer. We had to go to this guy Grossman's apartment, and he was causing trouble with his neighbors, and he was yelling out of his window like on the 3rd floor. And we get there in the parking lot, and he's looking down at us going, "Fuck you, pigs! Fuck you! You can't get me! Fuck you!" So we're looking at him. We're like, "All right, let's go up and get him." So we go up. Back in that day, we could just go in and do stuff. So he's got his door locked. So Sergeant's like, "Who wants to kick in the door?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I'll kick in the door." So I hit it the first time and bounce off, and then Mule kicked that son of a bitch. Just Mule kicked it wide open. He had a door fell into the apartment, and it was landed on a mattress or some bullshit. We're climbing over this door. There's porn everywhere in the apartment. There's this totally disgusting. We hook him up. We book him. We bring him back to the PD, and then Bernanke goes home and tells his girlfriend that he kicked in the door and made an arrest that day. Dan took credit for the. He still takes credit for the booting of the door to this day.
Hold on.
Yeah,
he told his girlfriend, or that's the way he has presented it ever since.
He told his girlfriend that he got the kick in the door today at work. Yeah, he didn't say Mike kicked in the door. He owned kicking in the door.
Okay, so he told his girlfriend that he kicked it in.
Yeah, then he probably got laid.
I think we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay with that, Mike. We're going to let that one go. He needed it more.
Oh, no, definitely. Yes, he
Especially
definitely
if was
needed
his
it
benefit.
more than me.
Yeah, if it was to his benefit, we got to give him. I mean, we get the assist on that one.
Well, that was his first, blowjob girlfriend. So maybe, maybe
I love Dan. He's a good guy. So let's do another Bernanke story. He was riding with me. I wasn't an FTO, but they actually wanted me to train somebody. So remember, we had a guy by the name of Shuffles. Remember Shuffles? He used to,
of course,
talk like this all the time. Remember him?
Yeah.
So we
one of our regulars.
So we get a call of a hit and run, green car, I think it was, hitting the car in the parking lot of an apartment complex. So I knock on. We know it's Shuffles' car. I knock on his door, and Shuffles used to have a lot of people stay with him because he was a non-for-profit organization. Remember that? Everything used to say was non-for-profit.
Yeah.
So I said, "Hey, Shuffles, you hit a car? I didn't hit a car." I'm like, "Listen, man, this is what I'm going to do for you." And Dan's right next to me, brand new officer. I'm like, "I'm going to take paint samples from your car, and I'm going to take paint samples from the other car. I'm going to send it to the lab, and in an hour, I'm going to be back here, and I'm going to arrest you." And he goes, "Oh, right, I did it." I'm like, "Holy shit, it worked." So I write him a ticket. I write him the thing. I get in the car, and Dan goes, "Can we really do that?" I go, "Nope." And I got in the car, and we just drove away.
Nope. I had Dan with me when some guy decided to kill himself in the hotel, put a gun to his chest and pulled the trigger on his bed. It was the cleanest shooting, Brandon, I've ever seen in my life. I don't know. I forget what caliber he used, but he was laying on his bed, fully closed, held the gun to his chest, pulled the trigger, killed himself. And Dan was brand new, and he was riding with me. And we get to the scene, and it's me and Dan and the sergeant. And
his finger was still in the trigger guard, right?
Yeah, it was just laying
at the hotel, right? It
was at the big hotel on River Road. Comfort.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah,
I thought it was Candlewood, but okay.
No, Comfort. So we get there, and Dan had never seen a dead body before, so he's like kind of freaking out, as normal people do. And then, of course, I got to go get the ET equipment and process the whole scene. So I leave Dan with the sergeant, and then the sergeant tells Dan, before Mike gets back, we're going to need to get a core temperature of the body.
Absolutely.
For the report.
There's only one way to really effectively do that.
Dan goes, "How do we do that?" And the sergeant goes, "Well, you have to put a glove on, and then you put your finger up his ass," it's like Brandon's showing on the camera. So Dan's like, "All right, I guess I have to do this." So he put gloves up, and he goes over to the body, and he goes to touch the body, and the sergeant goes, "What the fuck are you doing? Don't touch that body. I'm fucking kidding." And Dan's like, "Oh," he didn't know what to do. He was just shaking his pants. He said, "You don't touch the body. Mraz will be back and process the body when he gets back. Don't stick your finger up his ass."
All right, we got another Bernanke / Marazzo / DeSimone story.
Okay.
So, like, at the end of shift change, I always used to like to find work to do to get the overtime, right? Because we just do writing reports. So I had an arch nemesis in town. Remember Mike on Sunnyside and Emerson?
Yeah.
He was my arch nemesis. I tormented him. Everybody had one. So I'm driving around town, and I see
Frank
the garage.
hated this guy.
I see the garage door going down, but I happen to catch the plate of the car in the garage, and it was stolen. So who do I call? Mike and Dan. Okay, man, I got a stolen car here. And they're like, it's 2:30. We're out of here 2:45. I don't give a shit. Get over here. So like 2:40, they pull out of the garage. We get them around the corner. We effect the traffic stop.
Felony stop.
Felony stop. And I'm yelling out the commands. We get the driver out, walk him back, take him into custody. Then the passenger comes out. She comes out, walk her backwards. She's not looking. Keep walking. And there happened to be a street sign in the parkway.
She's on the grass.
Keep walking, and boom! She bucks into the street sign, and all I see is all these red laser dots going like this on the back of the body of this lady, and I turn around and these guys are laughing, right?
Well, that's because then you said stop and take a step to your left after she hit the sign. Bam!
So stop. These guys are all after. Like, were you going to tell her to move? I'm like, no. I wasn't going to tell her to move. Yeah, so that was the Bernanke Marazzo DeSimone story.
Love it.
We have a lot of good stories, Mike.
Oh, we had challenges, Brandon, and he brought this up in the pre-show.
Before we get to that, can I tell one more Marazzo story?
Yeah,
5100.
Yes.
5100 building River Road. Sunday morning, 5100 building. Me and Mike are car to car in the underground. And Mike's like, "Hey, listen, man, I got to catch 5 minutes. what would you watch for me? I'm like, yeah, no problem, Mike. I'll watch for you. So Mike catching his 5 minutes. So do I. We both fall asleep. Both fall asleep. Out for like 20, 25 minutes. Mike's like, you're supposed to be watching me. I'm like, I totally was, but you made me fall asleep. So we missed a half hour of our day. So that was our kind of our.
Thank God we didn't get a call.
Yeah, it was rough.
So we used to have these contests, and Frank bought an elephant.
Charlie the
Challenge elephant. And the winner of that week's challenge would get to ride with Charlie in your squad in your duty bag for the week. But our challenges were, my favorite one, well, if we had one that was no rear view mirror day. Mm-hmm. So you just pull over all cars that don't have rear view mirrors and write them. So the job was to pick a challenge. Whoever writes the most citations for that day wins the challenge elephant. But my favorite, we had RV plate day. You have to have certain things, right?
Hanging from the rearview mirror plates or obstruction.
Anything, right? And then the favorite
I know
one.
What you're going to go with. This is the best one.
My favorite one was the fat people one.
No, it wasn't.
No,
that.
It wasn't.
Combined
no, it was combined weight. Who wrote the most weight that day? And if you got a couple fat ones in there, you had to win. You're going to win. So that's how we would spend our time with challenges.
They were legit traffic stops.
Oh yeah, we didn't make anything up. We would just tally up our count at the end of the day, and that's who.
But if
won
she was
the challenge.
94 pounds or he was 94 pounds, we would just throw it back in and we'd go for more.
Yeah,
like fishing. You couldn't really. You can't take the lighter ones home.
No, you only write the heavy ones. Boy, I don't know which one of us got like a 350 pounder. It was fun. Made the day. Yeah. Shit.
So we have something those similar, are the times. Like it's a phrase.
Oh.
So we have to try to work
What's the phrase?
If you can work it into either a report or over the air, preferably over the air. But if you can get it in the report and it has to make sense, you can't just throw that thing in there all willy-nilly like. But the phrase cocked and bald.
Cocked and bald?
Nice. Cocked and bald.
Cocked and bald. I don't know if I'd be able to get that into a... Oh, maybe you can get that in a report.
You could.
They cocked their arm back, presented a bald fist.
Oh, okay.
Winner, chicken dinner.
I got a recruit to do it.
Bald.
Yeah.
That's the best.
Yeah. They had their arm cocked and bald, and then I took a picture of it, and I sent it to my old sergeant who runs our gang unit. I said, got it. And it made his day.
Got it. Cocked and balls. A win. Got to win. What were you going to say, Frank?
We did that with reports with Norris. Remember Norris? We used to pick the word of the day. Yeah. And you'd have to put it in a report. I think mine was discombobulated.
Mine was strewn. I always like throwing strewn in there.
Yeah, we got them both in there.
DeCaslo walked away from writing a report of a fight at a hotel, and he walked away from his report to go take a piss, and I sat down at the computer, and the only way he caught it was I capitalized R/O as reporting officer, and Mark would always write it in small letters. So, but he walked away, and I wrote into his narrative, as R.O. walked into the lobby of the hotel, R.O. observed a monkey swinging from the chandelier. And that's just this whole paragraph of a monkey causing havoc at the hotel. And then he sat down and wrote the rest of his report. And when he was proofreading at the end, he saw the R.O., the large R.O., and then read the rest and saw that there was a monkey hanging from a chandelier. And he caught it before he turned it into the boss, unfortunately.
My question to you is, how many months did he not talk to you for that?
Mark... The inside joke is Mark doesn't really talk a lot.
And if he gets mad at you, he won't talk to you.
Yeah, no, he didn't get mad. He actually thought it was pretty funny. He's my hiking buddy, Brandon. We go on. That's the guy I go hiking with. Out in the backcountry. But Mark was really. I rode with him when he was my FTO once. It was the most uncomfortable 8 hours shift I've ever had because Mark. I didn't know him back then. He doesn't talk, so it's like
no, he doesn't.
So what's up? Just nothing. It's like just talking to a wall.
Yep. Yeah. How was your weekend? Yeah, it was all right. Great.
That's it. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks. It was a weekend.
Talk to you in 10 hours.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Wake me up when you're done. Well, my FTO was so we would ride 25 years ago. Mine was Eddie. Eddie was my FTO, and we'd be driving, and all of a sudden he would yell at me. Like, what are you yelling at me for? Well, what song is this movie from? And I would get in trouble. Like I would have to know more 80s and 90s movie trivia than streets and laws. So I'm very, very well versed in the 80s and 90s because of this guy. And I thought for sure I was getting in trouble every time he would yell at me about a 90s or 80s movie.
And, I just brought him up the other day. I was watching the World Series, Brandon. I hope you were watching it. I know you hate the Dodgers and the Yankees, but I'm a huge fan of Freddie Freeman. So to see him win the game with a grand slam was pretty cool. But during the show or during the game, they play the that dun, 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 and there's
we don't know. What is it? What is it, Mike?
What's the boat show? Remember the boat show song, Frank? The boat show or the dog show?
Love Boat? Oh
no. Remember the boat
if
show
you could
here
sing
in Chicago?
the theme song, that would be ideal.
Yeah. Can you do a couple bars
I'm not going to ruin anybody's, but I kept saying dog show, and because of Eddie.
Yeah.
Eddie was my when he became sergeant. He's one I wanted to emulate the most. He's like the most. His father was a state trooper. He's the most put together street officer we ever had, I think.
Until he didn't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, until he didn't give a shit anymore. But we were out on a call for a subject in the woods, and it was myself, and he was our sergeant at the time, and we had a couple of the other guys. We're all separated, and it's Eddie and I, and the other two guys are on the other side of the forest preserves looking for this guy in the 5100 block of River Road. And he goes, hey, where's Brian and Jeff? I'm like, I don't know. They're over there somewhere. And he's like, he pulls his weapon. I was like, I'm going to fire a few rounds off in this guy so they know where we're at. I'm like, what the fuck? And he goes, I'm just kidding. But just got away. I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. I love this guy. We're going to have so much fun together. He would find buildings being torn down, and he'd call me over. He's like, hey, there's a warehouse over here. Come on over here. And we'd go into the broken down building and take the fluorescent light tubes out of the ceiling and just like whip them against the glass or have a sword fight with them. And it was just a lot of fun. We got paid to do all that kind of stuff.
Remember when we got in trouble for throwing snowballs at the glass paneled garage door on the other side of the police parking lot? We were launching snowballs at his building.
It's a woodworking.
Didn't know he was in there. It was like 11 p.m. at night. Yeah.
We were aiming at the man door, and we're thumping it. Thump, thump. This had to be like probably 50 yards away, right? Mm-hmm. And then we knocked the door a couple times, and then Frank lets one go, and the guy opens the door as the snowball's in the air, and it fucking hit the guy. The guy's like, what the fuck? We're like, oh, sorry, dude. We thought you guys were closed. He's like, no problem. He's got cops in the back throwing fucking snowballs at his building.
From our police department lot to his building. Yeah.
Our chief didn't like that. That was
the good
fun.
old days. The good old days. I know.
So, Frank, every week at the end of our cop segment, we do the Officer Down Memorial page. We read the names of the officers who have passed in this past week. So since we've been so far behind, we did a general discussion last week, but there are 5 that I see, Brandon, from October 1st.
He called you off.
So,
right? Like that was
no. What I'm saying, I see 5.
A bit much there, Mike.
Well, I don't get it. What did I do?
Oh, it's like we had 5. Brandon.
Because Brandon knows
they had something to do with it.
Oh yeah, no. That's Brandon knows that I'm going to read those, and then he's going to read the canines, which I see. There's been two canines. So you want to do that right now, Brandon? Sound good?
Yeah, we can get real depressed. That's fine.
I know.
Can we be a little lighthearted a little longer? I'm having a good time.
Yeah, no, I can't have that. We can't go too long before Mike needs to bring down the collective mood of everybody.
Well, let's go. I just turned the music down, so it's going to run for.
And then there's.
Why don't we bring it down when Brandon gets the bill from the plumber, and then we can bring the whole show down?
Right. Yeah. Maybe we should do that. What do you think, Brandon? How's it going, though? How's the plumbing going?
Apparently, there's options to discuss. They found the leak, and it's not a pipe. I don't know what it is. I just got told it's not a pipe. We can talk about it when you're done.
Wait, how is it not a pipe? How does the water get in your house?
I don't know. I don't know that I want to know, Mike.
Is it one of those?
Is that one of our sponsors? Flex Seal? It should be.
No, but after this episode, Brandon's going to need some. So maybe we can work on that.
You could fix a boat with Flex Seal. You could fix a leaky non-water related pipe issue, water problem.
You can even put a screen door in water and row it across a lake if you use Flex Seal.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
So we can fix Brandon's plumbing problem.
It's not a plumbing problem.
Oh, that's right. It's something else.
No, it's something
else. It's not from a pipe.
It's probably going to be
without
worse.
Water.
So you have kids that don't know how to pee in the toilet. It's going on the wall and getting behind the wall, and it's pooling and then running down into causing other problems.
Brandon, you make your kids pee inside the wall?
Depends on if they do
They're
their
kids.
first.
They don't know any better. Right.
California's rough.
Yeah, it is.
We're in a drought.
Oh.
All right, Frank. We're in a drought.
Not in your house.
No, then where are you getting the water from if you're in a drought?
What was the name of that
water? It's pee.
It's pee.
Fair enough.
Okay, right. They don't.
Mike
They can
knows
drink
best.
pop and then pee. What did you
soda?
call that rainstorm last year? Or soda? Who says soda? Is it pop? I don't know what's the
Normal people.
Yeah, what's the normal phrase? Frank, you're closer to my age than him.
I just
Soda
say
or
Coke
pop?
I just say Coke or Pepsi.
Not unless
they
you're getting
sponsored?
sponsored. No. So
Oh.
we say soda or pop.
I'm trying.
Soda.
I just do.
I mean, you could just say soda pop.
Are we sponsored yet? No.
No.
I'm trying.
No free ads.
Anything else? Anything else I can show you, Mike?
No.
Get you some money in this joint.
No free ads.
How about Bensenville?
Yeah.
The gateway to opportunity.
There you go. Oh, we'll do that at the end of the show because Frank wants
Okay.
to plug a few things. So we can do the officer thing now, Brandon, or at the very end, whatever you want to do.
Whenever you want to be sad, Mike.
I don't want to
I
be
think
sad, but because
Brandon doesn't-
we stopped doing it at the end of the show because it would just kill. That was the mood at the end of the show. All right, thanks everybody. So if we do it now, we go into the next segment just for a few minutes.
But then I feel weird making light of having a good lighthearted conversation, which we are having, sharing some war stories that I truly honestly miss. I'm going to be selfish on this one, Mike. I truly honestly miss these days.
Right.
Talking about law enforcement and the fun that it used to be.
Right. All right. Well, you know what? If anyone would like to see the names of the officers who have fallen in the past 2 weeks, you can go to the Officer Down Memorial page at odmp.org and learn their stories yourself. How's that, Frank?
Well, don't make me look like the bad guy.
Back to the show.
That's what Mike does. He doesn't. He's a lot like my former recruit. Nothing's his fault.
Everything's my fault.
That's why I didn't watch 67 previous episodes, Mike, because you make fun of people and belittle them, and then they get upset. I gotta go.
Look,
Okay,
look what you've done.
At least leave me the $3 tip when you walk off the camera.
You got it. You're shitting on everything. You should give me the $3.
Swear to God, Kim still says that. Still talks about that story.
That was the best story. It was. I mean, it was me and my buddy. We would call it the best. So every time like we went to the bathroom, we would call, "Oh, this is the best." We'd have to top it every time.
Oh, who is the buddy? Who is it?
My
Rico?
buddy Jay. No, my buddy Jay. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. Do I know him?
Yeah, you know Big J.
Oh, Big J.
Yeah. My kindergarten graduation partner.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Frank and I, we played in a softball league together and won a league championship and back in 2005, which was October 26th. I just want to say was the anniversary of the White Sox winning the World Series.
Who is that? Is that a softball team?
Pretty much now it is. They don't really do much.
Is it going to be the
talking about
Nashville
like when the White Sox
Yeah.
went to the World Series?
He
and
holds on to that. Yeah,
won
he
it
holds
in
on
like
to that.
2005.
Yeah. Wire to wire champions.
1805.
Well, you know what, Brandon? I'm not
Mike,
fortunate
you wanna
enough
know
to
where-
have the
you wanna know-
San Francisco Giants as my favorite team.
Hey, I had to put up with that up until 2010. All right. So from birth to 2010. All right. But you want to know what I was doing when the White Sox won that World Series?
No, because you're probably like 4.
No, I was much older than 4.
Okay. Well, you were born in 87, right?
Yeah, I was graduating high school.
Okay.
Also, fun fact, next year's my 20-year high school reunion.
Oh, I just had my 40th. So you're
You're,
catching up.
you're old.
Frank, when's your high school reunion? What year?
92 was when I graduated.
Oh, that's when I got married. 92.
I was learning to shit in a toilet.
At 92? Big
I think it
steps.
was
Did you leave?
92.
Did you leave your mom a $3 of your allowance when you shit on the floor?
No. You're assuming I got an allowance.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, that's true.
You can share that story now with everybody. I'll allow it. No problem.
So when I was watching the World Series the other day, and I love this. Rodon was pitching, right? He pitched for both our teams, right, Brandon, the Sox and the Giants. And
1 year, forever Giant.
Right. And then they brought in Kopech. The Dodgers brought in Kopech, former White Sox pitcher. And then the Yankees brought in another pitcher who was on the Sox. And then they also brought in Frank Al Leiter Jr. He pitched for the Cubs, right? He pitched. And then they put up a graphic, which I took a picture of and sent to my buddy Drew. And it's the top strikeouts on a slider this season was Chris Sale, Dylan Cease, and Carlos Rodon. I'm like, fuck you, White Sox. All three of them guys were in the starting rotation at one point. I'm like, where the team would have been. But
that's like when the Cubs blew it up after the Cubs were prized and primed to win multiple ones too, and they just shit the bed.
Yeah, it was good to see Rizzo. I'm enjoying the fact that he's having success in the World Series with 2 broken fingers and he's sitting like 350, which is pretty cool.
I don't like the Yankees. I do respect the fact that they do send flowers to every officer that is killed in the line of duty. I found that out. I hold that to high regards, but it's a certain giggle to me knowing that they spend hundreds of millions of dollars not to win. I love it.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't buy championships apparently.
Well, the Dodgers are about to.
I really need them to win.
The Dodgers?
My in-laws. No.
I was going to say that's weird because you hate the Dodgers.
Because my in-laws are Dodger fans, and I'm not. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
It's going to be an awesome winter.
They'll come over to your house with the T-shirts and the bandanas and
when you go to their house,
Dad.
But you could always throw that in their face that it was only a 60-game season and it doesn't count, just like the NBA championship with the Lakers, right?
So I made asterisk.
Right.
I made my father-in-law like a flag home plate with the 2020 World Series champions, and on the back I wrote, "Played 60 games."
Did you laser that in? Played 60 games, or did you stencil it? Or
I wrote it with a Sharpie.
Oh, with a Sharpie? You didn't even give him the laser
because one of the kids that I coached is Dylan Floro, and he got arguably the biggest out of that World Series when Rosarena came up with I think it was like the tying run at second base, and he gets him out, and I'm like, damn it!
I love him, but not the team.
Good for you, kid.
Right. Fuck. Yeah. That's too bad.
So, Brandon, I got a question for you, and I don't know your in-laws very well, but I think you'd be more happier with a baseball bat table.
Here we go.
Mike knows how to make them.
Brandon's a woodworker. He can make his own.
I think I'm going to order one. Mike, I'm backed up. I don't have the equipment for it. I would love it if you could make me one, though.
I'll get right on that.
You'll have to stand in line with the 37 country flags he's made and 82 American flags and 47 bottle openers, and then maybe they'll think about you.
Well, it's funny. Brandon knows this because people that pay to have stuff done, they get stuff done quicker.
Who says I wasn't going to pay? You just assumed that I wasn't going to pay.
No, I knew you would pay.
Hold on.
Eventually.
Did you give Frank a price?
No, I never got that far because I was buried in work. So, and I told Frank,
Mike, I had never. It should be discounted at this point.
Oh, sure. Just give me the. I told him I'd make it for him now. I'm retired. He's like, no, you got rid of the bats. I broke them and I gave them away to homeless people.
No, I got the bats. I just made something to hang them on the wall. My fine woodworking skills are just enough to put them on the wall.
When those things come crashing down, then we'll get a table built.
Yeah, whatever.
So Frank and Brandon, when I was in Pennsylvania last week, I went to the Hardwood Mall. Brandon, this place is absolutely amazing. So last year I went there with Don.
Not going to say it. I'm not going to make the joke.
I walked around for 2 hours, and I'm like, I'm going to buy some wood. And I left with a candle, some syrup, and a T-shirt.
Kim said.
You're making this real hard.
What's that? Oh,
you're making it real difficult.
Let it go.
You're making it real difficult.
Do it.
So this time,
you won't do it. You won't do it.
I bought 2 slabs. Not dark wood, no.
What kind of candle was it, Mike?
And all I got was this lousy T-shirt.
It was a coffee.
Were you going to a Diddy party? Is that what happened?
No, no. It was actually a coffee-scented candle. I'm okay. Scented? Yeah, I don't know Diddy.
Was it?
I don't know.
Was anyone mocha colored?
No.
Yeah.
No, of course not. I don't know. No. I didn't see anybody in there. There was no other customers there.
Awfully bigoted of you, Mike.
Here we go.
Where the lights
So,
off and you're in
Brandon.
a closet, this is a safe place. You can share it.
Okay. I don't think I can, and nor is
You
it
were
a
at a
safe
P.
place.
Diddy party, Mike?
Did I say something about P. Diddy? I said a hardwood
That's
mall.
what the street said. Yeah, exactly. That's what they called the freak-offs.
That's what his basement was called that.
Now I don't even know if you're serious or not. I haven't read the
serious.
news.
Look at this, dead serious.
Yeah, okay.
Dead
You look
serious
serious. Yeah.
It's the most serious I've
Anyways,
ever been.
this was not associated with P. Diddy.
Is he a sponsor of the show?
No.
Oh.
It could be.
I'm
It is
actually
not.
worried for you, Mike. Do you need to talk to somebody? Brandon has like grief counselors on his department.
We don't have that.
We have
no,
grief
we never had
counselors?
that.
I don't know. Just made it up.
So he actually heard saying that your shift after the baby incident went to counseling. So maybe that's
We
where
were
he
told
thinks that
to.
you're. Yeah, but they're not department shrinks, right? They're outside.
Yeah, no, they get
How's
paid.
it work?
I don't know. I get told a time and a place to be there, and then I have to talk about things that make me sad.
Right, but that person which you're speaking to does not work for the city. They're an independent doctor, therapist.
Probably
I don't know
contractor.
I haven't seen their W-9s.
Okay.
Yeah, Mike. Why you
Back
all
to
these
the wood
questions?
store. I got a huge walnut slab, Brandon, which is absolutely
damn it,
stunning.
Do you
Huge
hear?
wood.
Do you hear yourself?
I wish
Do
I
you
could
hear
show
the
you
words
pictures.
that you're saying?
You
And I-
understand the words that are coming out of your mouth?
I put it in my truck and I drove it home.
You put
Well,
it
it
in
might
your
be
trunk,
hard.
the huge wood?
And then I got home and I was so excited because I'm going to make a coffee table out of this huge walnut slab.
Yeah,
Live
let me
edge.
mess everywhere.
Yeah.
No, I'm taking
Kinda
stuff
like
out of the
Brandon's
truck.
homeless guy?
Yeah, you
And-
did.
Yeah.
Kim comes outside and I go, she's watching me take stuff out of the truck and I go, look at that.
Let me
Look
guess,
at
she
that
was
slab.
mortified.
And
Isn't
Kim
it
said, I've never
beautiful?
seen wood that big ever.
And well, that
She said
did say.
no.
Uh-huh.
And she goes like this. I go, look at that wood slab. She goes, And I'm like, what? What'd you just do? I'm like, this is going to be our coffee table. She's like, She goes,
So you're
it's
telling
not
me
my
Kim was
motif.
unimpressed with your wood.
Yeah, so
She's
now
not, yeah.
I might have an amazing live
All
edge
this wood
walnut
wasted.
8-quarter slab coffee table for sale in a couple months after I do some epoxy and bow tie work to it.
Can we put baseball bats in it?
No. But if we build the epoxy frame around it and put it on top of the walnut, it would defeat the purpose of showing the actual walnut slab. We could then pour it and fill it with epoxy. That's what you want, right? You want your bats covered in epoxy so you can never get to them again?
No.
Okay. Are you
Matter
sure?
of fact, just forget about it, Mike. I mean, I know
All
it was
right.
on the list of things for you to do 7 years ago. Just forget about it.
But here, 7 years ago, says that, hold on, Brandon, probably in the year 2002, Frank borrowed a DVD set from me called Boomtown. It was a show on NBC.
I
I'm
remember
pretty
it.
sure he still has
you got it back.
So you're equating a baseball bat table with a DVD box set of the hit NBC show Boomtown. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes, because right.
No,
It's
no,
only
no,
been
no, no.
7
Yes or-
years that I haven't
yes
done the
or no?
table.
That's-
Yes,
that's
yeah,
what I'm hearing.
I'm self-admitting to that. Yeah.
Okay, so if Frank gives you back the DVD box set of Boomtown, are you going to make the table?
The
He
next
says
day,
he already gave it back to me.
I'm
He
gonna
says
have
he
to
gave
look
it
through
back to me.
I'll have to
But,
look through my collection. Of
Is it possible
DVDs.
that you have forgotten?
He is old.
That's all that's possible. But I will say, in my defense, Frank, seriously now, I would do that table now because I am way more skilled as a woodworker than I was when I said I'd do that table for you way back then. So you get me the bats after I sell your cars on eBay, your die-cast
Yeah.
cop cars. I will then turn my attention to your bat table. Just give me all the bats so I can lay them out, measure everything out, and we can pick a wood, and then we can make it. Do you want steel legs? Do you want wood legs? We'll have to do all that kind of stuff.
We'll talk about this off air when we. I like having an awesome conversation. The bat table really is the source. So give it to me.
Okay. I was going to give you a
Mike's
price.
just trying to
but
get the bats
we-
so we can lose them.
Yeah,
We
we
can-
just sell
yeah,
my
right.
bats on eBay.
You're going to put them right next to the car. We can no longer make traffic stops to earn extra money. So
I don't know. I don't even know what that meant.
what that means. But my buddy used to tell me, so he'd pretend he was a police officer and he'd go, hey, you're doing $20 over the limit. I said, we don't do that. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, we don't do that.
And we don't make change.
And we don't make change. We definitely don't make change. We don't take bond on the street. We don't make change, and you're not doing $20 over the limit.
I can safely say
I have kind of a wild and crazy
part of my career,
idea. So, right, usually there's when arrest warrants are issued for people, there's usually a bail amount tied to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like $5,000, $25,000, $50,000, $500,000.
Unless you're in Cook County.
Yeah, Cook County.
I'm talking about normal places.
Right, yeah.
What if we got a percentage of that, right? I go out, I find somebody with a $20K warrant.
Like a bonus.
Maybe some of that comes to me, right? Performance incentives.
Yeah, the electric company used to pay us bonuses if we found a client who had disconnected their meter, whatever they owed on that bill, if it was a month or a year, $100 or $10,000 to the company, we'd get 10%. So that was maybe the police department can do the same thing.
I think it should be a thing.
Frank and I won't get to participate in that fun thing, but you can make some extra money.
Like I was saying, I haven't made a traffic stop in the last 15 years of my career.
Because you were a detective.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made traffic
He'd call
stops.
schmucks like us and go, hey, I need this guy stopped. Can you stop him?
Right. I hate when the detectives do that.
I never did that. Never did that. I made my own stops.
We would just back you up.
Yeah, if I had to.
Yeah.
But
so
the good old days.
Now Frank's talking to me. There's a company out here, a security company, and they're contracted through Apple. So they send 2 guys to follow an Apple truck, and you get paid money to do that. So Frank's trying to talk me into doing that on the side. Right, Frank?
It's good money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, though, Mike, you're going to have to drive because I'll probably fall asleep.
And that's okay because I've seen you drive, and I'd prefer driving.
Yeah, you don't like that. Yeah, you like to drive anyway, so that's even better.
Yeah.
So, I don't like to drive long distances. I barely drive to the office, which is like 8 blocks from my house. But when we had a case in New York for one of the homicides we worked, we flew into New York, and New York had a different set of rules. They can only hold them for 24, where we can hold them longer to interview them. But by the time we got there, the clock almost ran out, so we had to stop questioning them, right? And at that time, we had the shitty chief. Remember him? I won't name his name.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Okay, well, I want you guys to come back right now." Like we had a 3-day span because we figured we can interview him for 48 hours. So we had to rent a car and drive back from New York in 15 hours, right? 15 hours driving back. Brian drove the whole way. I slept the whole,
He slept too. You just didn't realize it because he didn't crash.
Yeah, because when we got back, what did the chief say? Man, you guys look like shit. You guys should go home. I'm like, you fucker, we're going to take a plane home.
Right.
I've been ready to work. Yeah. So, driving and me,
not
ain't
good.
going to happen. Mm-mm.
So you won't drive down to Alabama to our new house and stay with us?
I might. We'll see.
All right. You can fly in. I got to drive 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
They do. Here's the thing, Brandon. You can either fly into Nashville, Memphis, or Huntsville, and then I got to drive and pick you up. So there's no airport in
Well, who
Florence.
bought a house like that in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, you're the one that wants people to come visit you.
There actually is an airport in Muscle Shoals across the river from me, but you have to fly Spirit, and it takes 13 hours.
Yeah, no thanks.
I don't know where they go.
Nobody's doing
But
that.
you can take a flight, 13 hours on a Spirit flight for an hour-and-a-half flight. Yeah.
I wouldn't take a 13-minute flight on Spirit.
No. 13 seconds?
Maybe not even that.
No. Were you on the flight to Vegas after 9/11, or was that just Brian and a couple of the other guys? There was no one on the plane. It was like the next week. The flight attendant put toilet paper in the bathroom and flushed it, and then it flew down the aisle the whole way of the plane, like in the air, past like all 7 passengers on the plane. They said they had the best time. Okay, I thought you were on that plane. That wasn't you. All right. I tied the $3 poop story into that. I thought it was all the same, but it was different. All right. So, Frank, tell us about some of the stuff you're doing in the village of Bensenville, because that's where you're the mayor. And do you have any fundraising stuff going on? Anything that our listeners can donate to? We'll supply a link, website, or whatever you need for us to do.
Yeah, I mean, we do a lot of stuff in Bensenville. Again, when I was first elected, I like to take care of the seniors. You know, I think they need a lot of help, as much help as we can give them.
Mike.
Being that Well, yeah, Mike actually will hit the senior age because I did reduce the age to 60 years old as a senior in the village. So we 100 different senior homes. We cut their grass for $15. We shovel their snow for $15 each time. It's a 50-50 program. This won't air until after the first, anyways, right? So I'm also
this is going to air this week.
Well, that's the first. Is
the 30th
Friday.
And the 31st.
All right. Well,
yeah.
I'm going to unveil a program on the 1st where we're going to go into 100 homes and we're going to clean their furnaces for $30 for seniors and disabled. So I take care of them. We had just recently built a $1.2 million senior center,
which is amazing. Yeah,
it's gorgeous. And it was it happened. We started it before COVID, and we finally finished it this July with all the setbacks and things of that nature. So we have a safe spot for them to hang out. We teach them.
Wait, tell Brandon what you have to call it. Because remember we were in the elevator?
Oh, yeah. So it's in the lower level, Brandon, because my haters would say I'm building a senior center in a basement where all the seniors are going to die when there's a fire because they can't get out.
So they can't call the basement.
Yeah, can't call it the basement, and it's literally 12 steps from the first floor to the lower level. And they fully believe that the 3 exits and the 50 employees inside Village Hall are just going to run out and leave seniors in there because, we have 6-story senior homes in town, and people on the 6th floor, if there's a fire, how are they going to get out? So that's our kind of our running joke.
They're going to jump.
If somebody in the village.
Right, they have windows.
Yeah, you aim for the bushes.
Right. Yeah.
But we joke with anybody who calls it anything other than the lower level, we yell at them. Remember how Mike just belittled you by calling you up by almost like your full name? That's what we do to people that call it the basement or it has to be the lower level.
I told Kim that story. She couldn't believe it. I'm like, yep.
It's ridiculous. See, the problem is, I mean, haters going to hate, right? That's just how it is. And again, politics is politics. But when you don't have anything to attack, you attack anything you can. And
right.
That's fine. That's fine by me. Social media is the devil. Anyways. So we do senior programs. But every year, I think for the last, I'll just say 5+, Canadian Pacific used to do a holiday train where I don't know if you've seen it drive. It goes around the country. It's a fully lighted train at the holiday season. It stops at various spots. One of the cars come down. They do like a 4 or 5 song concert. They write a check to the local food pantry. They close it up and they go. Well, we were blessed to have it for 4 or 5 years. And they would write a check to the food pantry for $10,000. Well, this year, since CP and Kansas City Southern merged, they caused havoc in the village of Bensenville because they have a yard right outside Bensenville. So now you're getting longer trains and more trains that now go from Mexico to Canada that's stopping and blocking traffic. So we are in a lawsuit with them. And now that we're in a lawsuit with them, it's just so conveniently happened that they're not coming back this year. I don't know. Wink, wink.
We got no presents for you anymore.
Yeah,
it seems
I don't
suspicious.
know if it's because of that. Yeah, I mean, they say that our area is not conducive to what they need. Yet we packed 5, 6, 7,000 people in there with helicopters flying over, news feeding them. So, me being the person that I am, I want to raise more than that 10,000 to kind of do it as we do in my neck of the woods. This to you. So we're gonna have a link. If you can donate, it would be great. If you're local to us, drop off food. That'd be great. We have a great partner in town, Grand Subaru. They're actually going to give a turkey giveaway to the food pantry for everybody that comes during Christmas time. So I mean, that's another way we kind of give back. But then you ask my haters, it's because I can't be on TV for the holiday train and I don't do nothing for the village. So it's just. Go ahead.
This thing that you sent me, which I'll put in the video and I'll put it on Instagram and stuff too. But this QR code, will that lead to a link as well?
So that goes to the Bensenville Community Foundation, and then once you get there, there'll be a drop down to where it says food pantry.
Okay.
Because you could donate to a bunch of different things, but make sure it's for the food pantry.
Okay.
And then we'll get a tally on that. And then when we do the tree lighting in November, we're going to present that check to the food pantry for whatever it is.
Cool.
ComEd donated $3,000 already. I'm going to donate money out of my, from our team. I mean, so I want to beat them. Just selfishly, I just want to say, hey, I mean, yes, it was great.
We don't
But
need you.
I did hear that conveniently CPKC might be still writing a check to the village after we did a whole release on. We did a little PSA on it that blasted out on Facebook, and we're doing all this. I don't know. Again, I hate to guilt them into doing what they did, but it was kind of a gut punch, I guess.
Yeah, it's
I get it. They don't have to come by us. They don't have to come by us. I get it. They can go elsewhere, and I would understand going elsewhere if you do it every year. You went elsewhere, but they weren't here like 5 to 7 straight years. They actually tore down a building in the railroad yard so people could see the train better. And then
because it's all lit up when it comes into town. It's all lit up with lights and Christmas stuff.
It's very, very cool. It's a very, very cool thing. And I'm going to miss it. But, that bickering, I guess, if that's what it is, shouldn't stop us from helping the people that really need it the most. So that's what we're doing.
Absolutely.
Do you have anything else that you can do? I know you were doing canned foods and canned goods for this whole month of October, Brandon. They do on the weekends. They decorate the downtown area for Halloween, and they have live actors come out on the weekends and Fridays and Saturdays, and they were accepting canned food and stuff, right, Frank?
Yeah, we started that to coincide with this with the CPKC incident. So yeah, we have a trailer out there that they can put canned food in, and we're gonna donate all that. Getting back to that, so the month of October, we have a family in town. They're called the Wilkes family. They're really, really big on Halloween. So back when I first got elected, again, he used to put these displays out in front of his house, and then it was his neighbors' houses. Then he got really, really big on his side street. It got to the point where it was so big and there were so many people coming on there, we'd have to block off streets because they have live actors and they would scare kids and they would run into the street. It kind of got dangerous. So I kind of whistled them in, and I gave him the whole downtown area to build his sets. And it's cool. Like he'll have a set for like Michael Myers themed Halloween, or Child's Play, Chucky, and Freddy Krueger and Jason. And people kind of, during the week they could come, it's all lit up, there's no actors, but on the weekends from 7 to 10, guys actually, volunteers dress up, and a lot of it's his family, and they'll walk around as Freddy and Jason and Pennywise and Michael Myers and Chucky. And we actually have a little kid that dresses up as Chucky. He's great. Yours truly dresses up and goes down there too, but I'll never tell you who I am because the best part about it is people don't know who I am. The police officers that work won't tell you who I am. And then if I know that you don't like me, you better believe I'm going to be hounding you the whole entire time you're there.
Yeah. So when does that end? Because is it done now?
It's
after
Halloween.
On Halloween, it's over.
Yeah, okay. Halloween, it's over. But he has a big following, like 2 million followers on Instagram. And he does it live on TikTok. I mean, he does it good, and it's free, right? So we'll probably, I think this weekend, Friday we had a Jeep night where like 40 or 50 Jeeps came. A lot of them were like Halloween themed. They were all lit up. And Saturday we probably had 1,800 people down there. So the whole month of October we'll probably bring close to 20,000 people. And now that benefits some of the businesses that are down there. We have local vendors that are from Bensenville. We let them set up down there. We don't charge these vendors to come. That we have food vendors and things like that. The Taste Greek place there, Mike, that we went to lunch with. Yeah, they came out there. I mean, so it's great. I mean, and I know we'll never get back to that time where community where Mike, back in the day, I could walk into your house, go into your fridge, grab a pop, or if I got a line, your parents were able to beat me and get away with it. I know we'll never get back to that, but I mean, I like to do a lot of free stuff to the community because I think that's what makes the community stronger. I mean, Bensenville Strong is our title. We've been, the last 8 years. If you were to tell me what I faced in the last 8 years, I would have never run for office. I mean, I faced an officer shot in the line of duty.
Oh, I wanted to talk about that too. Yeah,
I faced the marches. I'll just call them marches. I faced the pandemic. I mean, it's wild, back in the day, and however you may view it now, but back in the day, we were the first to give out over 18,000 COVID shots, especially for the seniors when nobody would get them. And I remember one day I was laying on my couch. It was 8:00 at night. I get a call. We have 300 shots. Do you want them? Yeah. Well, we're not going to be here till 1 a.m. So we're like, where will we go give shots at 1 a.m.? Well, we have a temple, an Indian temple here, which, and you get where I'm coming with it. They're all doctors. I called them up. I'm like, I need doctors. I need nurses. We'll be ready. We gave shots from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. at this temple. Doctors came out to volunteer their time. It was pretty cool. So, I mean,
that's very cool.
We do a lot of stuff. I mean, and again, and that's just kind of what we do here. I want to make the town. I mean, we have our own movie theater. We show $3-5 movies, $3 to $5 movies. We have our own ice cream shop, our own popcorn. I mean, we do it. I like it. I like doing it. It makes me smile. It makes me laugh. I get in trouble for being too accessible. And the long-standing joke I have with my wife is if she sends me to Jewel for milk, is Jewel one of our sponsors?
No.
Oh, sorry.
There's no Jewels out in California.
I come back with 4 hours later, and I usually forget the milk, so she thinks I'm having an affair. But so when you go to
you are with the old ladies at Jewel.
Yeah, when you go to Jewel in town, don't take the first gallon of milk that's back because that's one I probably put back warm. So don't take that one. So we have a great time. I mean, like I said, it's fun. And I have a saying: if it's not fun, we're not doing it. The first thing I bought as the mayor was a T-shirt cannon. Remember that? So I shoot T-shirts at our events. I mean, it's a cool different thing. Like,
and it's not a small town, but it's a land mass.
18,800 residents.
But the landmass itself is pretty big with industrial and residential. It's a big and railroad. I mean, it's a huge town.
Right next to the airport. I mean, we have 3 sheets of ice. I mean, the town owns 3 ice rinks. We have
the Blackhawks used to train there.
Not to name drop, but Bo Jackson has a facility here, a 120,000 square foot training dome. They're building another 85,000 square foot volleyball only dome. I mean, we like that. Mike, you play at our baseball stadium. I mean, so we have like an amateur sports kind of complex we do. And
yes,
and
great,
like I said,
great facilities.
We're primed to do good things. And like I said, if it's not fun anymore, I'm not going to do it anymore. And so far so good. I'm having a good time.
Well, before we let you go, I just wanted to find out about the officer because you and I, for 25 years, luckily we didn't have anyone on our department get shot. But you as a mayor at your police department in the town where you are the mayor had an officer get shot.
Brandon, this is where we're going to get it's going to get very, very emotional really, really quick, guys. Just going to let you know that.
Well, so okay.
How's he doing?
I actually have a follow-up question with it because my department over the last 18 months, I've lost count of how many officers shot or shot at.
Yeah, that was that day was probably one of the worst days I've ever had. Being a human being, let's put it that way, because I've tried very hard. Like I told you earlier in the show, I try very hard keeping the mayor out of the police. I try very hard keeping the police out of the mayor, right? Because you show up. My first thing is when the officer was shot, everybody was all hands on deck. I said, "Give me a car, give me a beat, I'll patrol." And I got to kind of remember that. So, then I was there, but I was the guy now bringing the food to the officers, making sure they were well hydrated, making sure they were well fed. So I did my part that way. I got to tell you, though, that was the hardest body camera footage I've ever had to watch in my life. The responding officer, and we used it as a training video. I have it. We used it a couple times. The officer that applied the tourniquet to Steven saved his life for sure. And the calmness at which he did it, like, for example, I mean, you can kind of, and when I say laugh at it now, I'll tell you why. When Steven was at his worst, the only thing the officer said to Steven, now remember, Steven got shot 8 times. 10 rounds at him, 8 hit him, 1 missed, and I think 1 was in his vest. After being shot 8 times, the officer says to Steven, "I'm going to put this tourniquet on you, and it's going to hurt." That's what he says to him. I mean, just to have that kind of wherewithal, and then to throw him in the back of a squad to take him to the staging area. Steven says in the car, "Where are the paramedics?" And then I think the officer says to him, "They're coming." And then Steven says, "Well, tell them to hurry up." That's what he says, So Steven is obviously
he had a lot of injuries. The very first thing I told my staff and my village manager is Stephen will never be without coverage or never be without support. He is disabled on duty. We never took Stephen's credentials away. We never took his pass. He can come and go in the police station anytime he wants. He comes and works out. From what I understand, he works out upper body like a monster. So I will never do that for him. I would love to find a place in our home for Stephen, and I'm working on that to kind of bring him back into the fold. I don't know how he would kind of deal with that. I mean, the place where he was shot was literally around the corner from the police department. Right. So that takes a special person to kind of want to do that again. And my saying to everybody was, I mean, next to paying the ultimate sacrifice for your community, Stephen deserves all the protection and everything we could possibly give him, and that's what we continue to do as long as I am. I bleed blue. I'll always bleed blue. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I tell our police department, you chase the bad guys until the tires fall off, and when the tires fall off, you keep chasing them. I'll buy new tires. Just be careful, So we're in a different county, DuPage. We get a lot of shit that comes from Cook County. But our DuPage County State's Attorney is phenomenal. And you hear the stories of when people are arrested in DuPage, they ask what county they're in. And when they find out it's not Cook, they say, oh, shit.
Yep.
Because they know they're going to go to jail. And that's what I love about it. Listen, and I tell this to everybody too, there's bad in every profession, right? Let's be honest. There's bad teachers, doctors, politicians. There's bad everything. But just because one or two are bad doesn't make us all bad. Mike, you and I, we've raised money. We've done fundraisers for the Children's Heart Foundation. We've gone to hospitals to give kids stuff in bed. That stuff doesn't really make the news. It's the shit that is either A, shown at the end of what really happened, or B, somebody not having a good day. I mean, and another thing I like to say, and I hate to preach, but when you call 911 for a fire and paramedics, they're usually doing a good thing for you, right? They're saving your life or helping put out a fire, which is great. When you call 911 for us, that means you couldn't handle it and the shit hit the fan, and now you expect us to handle it. And that's not fair. So,
what were you going to say, Brandon, about some?
I have a question from, I guess, the mayoral side of it. How does that notification come to you? Like, I don't know, Chief, much about this case. Is if it happened in the middle of the night, are you getting a phone call from the chief middle of the night, or somebody coming straight to your house going like, hey, we got a fucking problem?
Yeah, if I don't answer the phone, they'll send somebody to my house. But I did get the phone call on that, and I was up and out of bed. I was at the police station. I think don't quote me on the time, 1 o'clock in the morning, maybe I was notified. I was at the police station in a matter of a couple hours. And I stayed there as long as they needed me to. And like I said, I was briefed on it. I stayed out of it as much as I could, even though, like I said, you're born that way, you bleed that way. I wanted to help out, but I walked a thin line, right? Because again, police department and seeing their mayor being a police officer, like, oh, look at this guy, he's going to try to tell us how to do our jobs, or try to, however it may be. And I learned that lesson from previous places that I worked. I don't get involved, but I will help them out. And that to me was probably my biggest, hardest thing. Like I told you guys before, was not being the police and being the mayor. But yeah, I was informed that night when it happened, once everything was said and done, and he was brought to the hospital. That's when I was kind of told that happened.
Oh, they didn't call you?
It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, I think.
Okay.
So
they waited. They didn't call you right away, like what Brandon's asking about.
Because it's so.
They got to work a scene.
It's all over the place. It's all over the place at the time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
but I know our chain, how the phone calls go, so I didn't know.
So I mean, by the time the chief gets in and comes in and sees what goes on, I don't remember the exact time, man. It could have been right after that. It's something you want to try to forget it, I guess, but you can't forget it. It's always going to be there. I'm glad that the offender in the case, or
I don't know if we call him subject or suspect, whatever you want to call him.
Shitbag. We call him shitbag.
He worked in town. He served food to our guys.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I've seen the video a number of times, and I forget where, because it was made available.
I shared it in one of our trainings. We used it as a training video, remember?
We watched it a number of times, but it was in an apartment. So it's an outdoor apartment complex, Brandon, where the stairs are outside, the doors are outside and there's a staircase outside. So there's no hallway or anything, but it was on the second floor, if I remember right. And they knocked on his door and the mom answered the door.
The door was open, remember? So the inside door was open. The screen door, the screen door was closed. Yeah. And mom was sitting, it was a 1-bedroom. I believe it was a 1-bedroom apartment, and the mom was sitting in the living room, which is outside that front door. She waved him in, said, "I don't know what's I don't know what's going on. He's acting crazy," whatever he said. The individual came out of the back room, and I don't even think Steven said, "What's up, man? What's going on?" That's it, and he just opened fire.
Yeah, and then so Steven's retreating out the door as he's getting hit and falls down on
down the stairs
as he's still shooting at him and hitting him. So yeah.
And Steven was actually the second. He was supposed to be the backup officer. He just beat the guy to the call. So it's calls that guys that we go on routinely, right? I mean, we do it. I mean, that obviously changed our way now of doing things. We wait until the backup comes and before you go. But it was definitely unprovoked. And there was a little standoff with him. All the towns were great. They all came out and helped out. We took him into custody without incident. And it's an ongoing court case. So
yep.
But
how is that other officer doing? That was the primary.
He's again. We give them all the resources like you guys do as they want. As far as I know, they're all troopers. They're all still doing it. Nobody's left because of that incident or changed fields because of that incident.
But he's not feeling guilty or anything, right?
No, not that I know of. I mean, not that I've heard from anybody. Again, guys, remember, I don't micromanage my departments. I firmly believe I put people in those departments that run those departments. Like the chief of police that's in Bensenville, he was my former boss.
He was our chief, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, he would, at one point, used to call me and be like, "Hey, what do you think about me doing this?" I'm like, I would say, "You're the chief of police. If that's what you want to do it." And that's kind of, even public works, same thing. This is your field. I made the statement the other day, I put people around me smarter than me to handle these problems. That's why you're in those positions. So, I firmly, not that I'm hands off, but you have those people in that, you don't want to meddle in that. Like in some departments I heard.
Yeah, what's that like? You don't want to meddle.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was an eye-opening experience for me. It was. I'll be honest with you. I came home and I cried my eyes out because Steven's got little kids, man. I mean, I can only imagine that phone call. On the flip side of that, when that happened, we did a charity fundraiser for him. Remember? I don't know if you were part of that, Mike. Mm-hmm. We raised, I want to say, we had 96 or 86 blood donors for that, which was the highest they've ever had. We had 2 buses outside Village Hall. We had a gathering. People were donating and putting blue ribbons around trees all over town. We made up signs, for the police department. All that money was donated to the family. And then we had a concert for a mutual friend of ours who was runner-up on America's Got Talent. He did a free concert at one of our at our high school, and we didn't ask for admission. We just had a box, and if it was $1 or $100, put it in the box. It all went to the family, and at the end of the night, nobody opened that box. We handed it to the wife, and we had 2 police officers follow her home with that money, and I can't even tell you what was raised in that. And the great part of that night, too, was Steven was able to be on FaceTime from his hotel room,
or the hospital. Bed, yeah.
The hospital bed, seeing the crowd and addressing the crowd as best as we could. So, I mean, that's what made us Bensenville strong. And then we just kept that Bensenville strong into COVID. And in COVID, like I said, I'm proud of this community. So in COVID, when everybody was shutting down, we weren't shutting people down. Like we let them do what they had to do. We started a program during COVID, and in order for the businesses to get into the program, they had to donate 2 $10 gift certificates to the restaurant, right? So we'd call it Bensenville Strong. If I called Brandon's hot dog place and said, listen, I want to place an order under Bensenville Strong, Brandon would call me on my cell phone and say, listen, I got an order. I would go out and deliver that food to the family.
Oh, cool.
During COVID. And then they would grab another gift certificate for another restaurant to keep that restaurant open. So everybody would kind of do that to keep everybody open. And we hung in there, man. I mean, it's a cool thing. And that's when you know you're doing it right? Yeah. When the residents are behind you and you're doing it for the right reasons. There's no, again, I say 100 times, haters are going to hate because they hate you because they ain't you. But when that stops and I do it for the wrong reasons, I'm done. I mean, I always joke, I don't look good in orange and I'm too good looking to go to jail.
Okay, you get raped first. Okay. This is the whole horrible bosses conversation.
Absolutely. I'm the first one going, I'm not to punch the biggest dude in the mouth.
Yeah. All right. Brandon, anything else?
I got nothing, man. I got to go find out how much this is going to cost me.
Yeah, good luck with.
After the recording, I'll
I'm interested
tell you
to see what the leak
coming
is.
Through my phone.
Well, you get,
that's
okay,
the great debate.
I missed something there. All right. So, Brandon, if someone wants to send a question to the podcast, it's been a while, how can they do that?
I don't know. Ask David Franklin. He knows
do you
how
remember?
to get questions to us. I don't know. DM me, DM Mike, DM the show, but probably DM me. I'll see it. Mike's too big time.
Well, I'll see it. Actually, yeah. I
know he won't.
I haven't been on Instagram a lot lately, but
exactly.
I am getting on. I get overwhelmed, emotionally. So now I'm making a point of going on every day. So I'm getting back in the flow. You can also, I check the emails all the time. So email handcuffs&sawdustpodcast@gmail.com or Full House Woodworking. Are you at gmail.com, Brandon?
Yeah. Don't send me an email, though.
Full House?
DM me. Yeah.
Send Brandon emails or me. Or you can send Frank an email. Frank, what's your email at the Village if they have any other questions about donating to some of your programs? Or
I would just send them to the Village of Bensenville's Facebook page or the Instagram account. Yeah.
All right.
Why are you trying to blow up his email, Mike?
It's gonna. Me getting email will just be ridiculous.
So you're gonna put some poor sap who's some college kid who's working an internship.
Unfortunately, my executive assistant has to go through all my emails.
Okay.
And that's kind of rough. But I do have one quick question, Mike.
Yeah.
Or statement, however it's going to be.
I can tell how this is going to go.
It's going to be great.
Okay.
I know your uncle had passed, and we are all sorry for that loss. But
oh boy,
I still need my pizza from him. He promised me pizza. Mike used to buy pizza every month from Uncle Harold.
Michael didn't buy it. Uncle Harold would send me money when he got his Social Security payment, and he called it pizza dough.
Okay, so now that Mike has Uncle Harold's pizza dough, Uncle Mike should be sending some pizzas out, at least to the guys who are on a fixed income now.
I'm on a fixed income. What are you talking about? I'm one of those guys.
You fix your income, you bastard.
All right.
So I'm kind of hungry. I'm kind of hungry, Mike.
All right. I'm starving because it's dinner time at 6:00. So
no,
Brandon's got to go.
I want you to buy me dinner.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just wait at your house. I'll come pick you up.
Jeez.
I'll come pick you up. I'll be there in 20 minutes.
I'll be here.
All right. I ain't coming.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad you were able to come on. It was fun. I had a good time. Thank you for letting us know what it's like to be a mayor of a pretty progressive town and what it's like to go through the shooting of a police officer. And Brandon's got something. Yes, Brandon?
So, obviously, right. Thanks, Frank. But also, this is going to air prior to November 1st, correct?
Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday. So 30th and 31st.
Okay. So, we will not be able
29th
to
and 30th.
An episode out prior to Election Day. Go out and vote.
Yes, correct. Right. Yes, please vote.
Yes,
vote for the person you think that is
even the dog is saying it.
Vote for the person that you think is going to do the best job. not the person you like, not the person that you hate. Vote for the person that you think is going to do the right job. If you think neither person can do the job, don't vote in that category.
Don't vote.
However, there are still things on that ballot that will affect your day-to-day life. Educate yourself on it, research it, and vote.
And how have you not voted already? I voted last month.
I got to go drop it off. I don't trust the mailman.
Send it in. Go hand it right to the person that's at the door waiting to take it, and then watch them put it in a ballot box.
Bitch.
Right in front of me. Right?
Do it.
Do it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Frank. Thanks, Brandon. I'll see you next week. Everyone have a safe week in the shop, in the office for Frank, and on the streets. Peace.
Yeah, don't get a paper cut.
No paper cut.